Well, overnight we had some news out of China that sort of picked the market's mood up a little bit, but there's a lot of nervousness around the state of negotiations in Washington this week and going into next month. Tomi Kilgore is here to tell us on how markets are dealing with all of these swirling factors. What are things looking like at this stage?
Well, it's a little bit down, not too much, but considering we lost about 185 points in the Dow on Friday, you'd like to see a little bit of a bounce after a day like that. And it's not so much that the market's expecting bad news or anything, it's just that they're not sure what to do, and that's sometimes can be worse.
Uncertainty, right. I mean, one would have thought that last week when the Fed decided not to go forward with tapering its bond buying, that this would have been good news, and of course we got a bit of a bump on Wednesday.
Right.
But since then we really haven't moved, it's really been quite a negative response.
Right.
Why is that exactly?
Well, they started to look past the actual event, and now they're starting to look at the fact that they lowered their GDP forecast. They're starting to worry. Now they have the budget to think about the slower economy. The reason they couldn't taper, is that going to affect third quarter earnings? They're kind of looking down the road, and the idea is that they're not sure now. And now we have a whole nother month and a half for the next Fed meeting that we have to worry about this again. And that's another thing that the markets don't like to do.
Right. What else is on tap for today then?
Well, there's some Fed speakers today.
Right.
There isn't a lot of data out this week, so there's some Fed speakers, and people are hoping a little bit of clarity. But I mean, I don't know.
William Dudley, I believe, the New York Fed president,
Fed,
who does have
Atlanta,
some clout.
Right.
Yeah, trying to clarify what their intent was, right? Because they did leave us.
What can they do?
Right. That's true.
Basically, what can they do? So I think that they're not going to get clarity, and that's the other idea.
That is one of the concerns.
Yeah.
You got some stocks you're looking at, particular?
Yeah, BlackBerry came out pretty late on a Friday, and they said they're cutting a bunch of jobs, and their projection for revenue was half of what was expected. I mean, the bigger losses. I mean, it just does not look good, and the stock took a big hit very late in the day on Friday, and it's falling again today. It's down another 6%.
It's a very sad story.
Yeah.
What else you got?
So one little bit of good news is GE signed a pretty decent-sized deal, $1.9 billion, to build plants in Algeria, and the CEO had mentioned this earlier in the year, that this could be an important deal for the company, and that generator business is kind of weak, so it's a good news for them.
And Citigroup is on your radar, I believe.
Yeah, there was a report in the Financial Times saying that they might have some weak trading revenue, and mostly because the markets were so slow over the summer, so that could translate to other companies as well, other banks.
All right, Tomi, well, thank you so much.
Thank you.